What's up guys, and welcome back to Drive to Thrive. In today's video, we will not be talking about Lightspeed or QuantumScape. I know, shocker. Instead, we'll be talking about three of my favorite gold and silver miners. Now, to be exact, two of them will be gold miners, one silver miner, just to balance things out. Now, as is the case with a lot of these cycles here, we could possibly be witnessing an end to the bull market here for the tech sector and the start of a bull run into another sector, which I think is commodity. So that's why I've been positioning my portfolio over the last 6 months and moving out of the tech into these commodities, especially gold and silver and EV metals, and another sector that I will not be mentioning in this video because I want you guys to subscribe and find out for yourself when I drop that video. So make sure to click on that button down there and turn on that notification bell. Now, before we get started, I just want to say congratulations to my 250th subscriber. Your price is on the way. Now, also, I want to thank you guys for liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing as I'm building up this community. Now, I also started a Facebook page if you guys are interested. This is where we can talk about different stocks that I've been breaking down in these videos, like Lightspeed, QuantumScape, talking about some different wealth preservation strategies and things like that. So come and join the group. It's absolutely free. And otherwise, thank you once again. Now, let's go over to the computer and let's get started. Alright guys, in this video, let me give you a little tip on how I choose my companies to put in my long-term growth portfolio. And one of the ways I do it is look at the income statement, the balance sheet, and the cash flow. Those are the three most important things if you want to put some solid companies in your portfolio. And the website I use for that is investing.com. Now, no, investing.com is not a sponsor right now, but who knows, maybe in the future they will sponsor some of my videos. So investing.com, if you're watching this, I'm always open to some deals in the future. So what I like to do is go over to investing.com, put in my company. For this video, let's start off with Barrick Gold, and let's go over to our financials. You click on financial summary here, and this will give you a nice glimpse of how the company is doing and what kind of financial standings these guys are in. So overall, on the margin side, these guys have really nice profit margins. Their return on investment is about 9.1%, so really solid here. Now, next thing, let's look at the balance sheet. So typically you want to see low debt, and these guys have debt to equity of around 21.59%, which is relatively low. If we look at their total assets, we're sitting at around 46.89 billion versus liabilities of 23.03 billion. And now final thing is the cash flow. So operating cash flow for these guys is sitting at an astonishing 210%. So really great to see. Now let's go over to these charts and let's see how the stock's been doing. Now guys, also as a bonus, Barrick Gold does pay a dividend of around 1.58%. So that is just a cherry on top. Now, if you've been following this channel, I've been bringing up Barrick Gold for a while now. So I won't be doing a detailed breakdown. If you would like me to do a future video on any of these companies more in depth, then let me know in the comments below. But for this video, I'll just be looking at the weekly and the monthly chart because really that's all I care about from that long-term perspective. So overall, looking really good here, sitting about that 200-day moving average, which is signaling some bullishness here. Our MACD is rotating off of the zero line here into this bullish momentum, but our stochastic RSI is sitting at this overbought, which is leading me to believe that we can expect some kind of pullback here in the next 1 to 3 months, especially before this thing comes back down, which might create some nice buy the dip opportunities here. Now, some of the levels here, if we do pull back, it's going to be the top of this 200-day moving average. So just kind of look for us to come back down, maybe not exactly, but close to it. And this is going to be a nice buy the dip opportunity right here. Now, some of the price targets here, let's go over to our monthly chart and I'll show you guys what I'm thinking here. So in the short term here, around that $35 is definitely in the cards. This is where we'll be rotating off of this nice bullish channel right here. So not out of the question. Now, if we see this thing really run, then don't be surprised if Barrick Gold gets all the way up to $52 as we did back in the 2010s and 2011 here. Overall, on the MACD here, looking really nice, rotating off of that zero line, so very bullish there. We do have a crossover happening on the MACD here, so again, very bullish signal for the long term. Our stochastic RSI still not out flat here up at that overbought territory, but is approaching it. So look for that thing to maybe start stabilizing, but we could be sitting in this overbought territory for quite some time, even a couple of years. Now let's go over to my next company, which is Alamos Gold. So for this one, I had to go over to the Toronto Stock Exchange because Alamos Gold doesn't have any financials on the US Stock Exchange. And as is the case with all of these companies, guys, you can trade them either on the Canadian Stock Exchange or the US Stock Exchange, and they pay dividends on both of these. Now let's go take a look at the income statement for these guys. So not looking as great as with Barrick Gold here. The return on investment is sitting around a negative 1.92%, but I do think these numbers will flatten or start to turn positive, especially if the gold price keeps rising here. Their balance sheet here is looking immaculate though. Their total debt to equity is sitting at 0.01%, so total assets 3.62 billion versus liabilities of 0.89 billion, and the cash flow is sitting around that 227%, so a really nice. Going over to our charts now, let's go over to Alamos Gold. As is the case with Barrick Gold, these guys pay dividends as well, around 1.13% on the US Stock Exchange, and the charts are looking very similar to the Barrick Gold, especially if we take a look at that stochastic RSI here. So sitting in that overbought territory, which is kind of leading me to believe that we might see a pullback here in the whole sector, in the whole commodity sector over the next few months. We are sitting above the 200-day moving average, so again, look for this to be a nice support point. If we do pull back, this could be a nice buy the dip opportunity right here. Our MACD is starting to rotate above the zero line, so going into this bullish momentum. Now let's go over to our monthly chart here, and we'll definitely encounter some resistance here at around that $10.65. So maybe not as much room left to the upside here, but I do think we'll end up breaking this, and we could see Alamos Gold going easily to $20, which would be a nice profits from the current price of around 120%. That is why I really like these gold miners. Now it doesn't have to be Alamos Gold or Barrick Gold. Let me know in the comments below if you are investing into any other companies. I'd love to hear from you guys. Now on our MACD here, so again, looking really good here, rotating off of that zero line. We do have a crossover that just happened this week, and lots of room for the stochastic RSI to run on the monthly here. And let's go over and check out my last company, which is a silver miner. So for my last company, I really like Pan American Silver. Now these guys been around, they're really reputable, and they do have a nice balance sheet. So their income statement is looking good. Nice numbers here. Return on investment is around 3.18%. Their balance sheet is sitting at total debt to equity of 1.74%, so really low. Again, way more assets than liabilities, 3.52 billion versus 0.89. And their operating cash flow is sitting at around 101%, so really good here. Going over to our charts, let's start off with the dividends here. These guys pay around 1.63%, so just another bonus if you do own Pan American Silver. And looking at our weekly chart here, so as is the case with the other two companies, our stochastic RSI is sitting in this overbought territory. Our MACD is crossing past the zero line, and we are sitting above the 200-day moving average. So again, if you do choose to invest into Pan American Silver, then look for that pullback, looking for that 200-day moving average. And if you guys notice, as was the case with the other two companies, Pan American Silver here looks very similar on the weekly chart, all broken about that 200-day moving average, but I do expect some kind of pullback here to happen in the whole commodity sector, or the gold and silver sector as a whole. Now, some of the price targets here, let's go over to our monthly chart here. So since the inception of this company here, we've topped out always around that $40. So definitely look for that to be a strong resistance point, but don't be surprised if Pan American Silver breaks through here and actually ends up going on a crazy bull run, something similar to what happened back here in the early 2000s, where we could see returns from the lows all the way to the highs of around 1,700%. So if we pull this down, let's see, 1,000, even if we look at 1,000% from the last lows here, you know, you'd be looking at the price of around $65. So if we were to get to $65 from the current price, your return would be an astonishing 120%. So really nice, and that is the reason why I like these gold and silver miners as a long-term investment. Now looking at the MACD here, so rotating nicely off of that zero line. Again, we don't have that crossover yet, but it is setting up really nicely here, and lots of room for that stochastic RSI to run up. So that is it, guys. Those are my 3 favorite gold and silver miners. Now I do hold a few other small cap stocks that I'm not talking about in this video, but if you guys want to talk about those, then come and check out that Facebook group. Otherwise, leave me a comment. What are some of the companies you're looking at? How are you hedging your portfolio in case we do end up going into a bear market here? And what are some of your trading strategies to preserve your wealth? Now, thank you so much, guys. Happy Easter, and see you in another video. Bye bye.